welcome to a brand new edition of our daily news program coming up next. World leaders keep congratulating the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, for his re-election for a second term. The Fouka seawater desalination plant is to be shortly delivered, serving 3 million inhabitants. The Arab League Ministers' Council adopt a common strategy for joint Arab actions and hails Algeria's efforts to end the Zionist aggression on Gaza. And the delegation of our Paralympic champions is back to Algiers with a harvest of 11 medals, including 6 golden ones. Welcome again. First in our news. The world leaders representing brotherly and friendly countries keep congratulating the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, following his re-election for a second term on September the 7th. Today's messages and phone calls are reported by our own Melissa Kubash.
The President of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, sent a congratulation message following the re-election of President Abdelmajid Tebboune, affirming that his victory indicates the position he holds among his fellow citizens, expressing his will to further develop the in-depth strategic partnership agreement signed between Algeria and Russia. President Putin also affirmed his determination to develop bilateral cooperation through joint efforts to the benefit of both peoples, so as to preserve regional stability and security. The Italian President, Sergio Mattarella, also congratulated the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, for his re-election for a second term, wishing him success in serving his fellow citizens, while affirming the profound and exceptional friendly ties and cooperation binding the two countries. Within this framework, the Italian President added that the promising future between the two countries will allow the development of bilateral relations and reinforce cooperation at both regional and international levels, before expressing his wish to hold a meeting as soon as the agenda of both presidents allow it. The President of the Republic of Cuba, for his part, Miguel Diaz-Canel, congratulated on his behalf and on behalf of both the Cuban government and people the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, for his re-election, wishing him and the Algerian people peace and prosperity. The Cuban president underlined the historic bilateral relations founded on the basis of friendship, respect, solidarity, and cooperation in different domains, adding that this occasion is an opportunity to reaffirm the will to further deepen the ties binding the two countries. Sultan of Oman, Haytham bin Tariq, congratulated the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, on the same occasion, wishing him success and the Algerian brotherly people prosperity, in addition to development regarding the relations linking the two countries. President Tebboune Abdelmajid also received a phone call from the President of the United Arab Emirates, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, who congratulated him on his behalf and on behalf of the Emirati people for his victory in the presidential elections, wishing him success. For his part, the President thanked the United Arab Emirates President, the entire ruling family and governors, wishing more prosperity to the Emirati people before the two leaders agreed to soon hold a meeting. The President of the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, Brahim Ghali, warmly congratulated on his behalf and on behalf of the Sahrawi brotherly people the President of the Republic on this occasion of his re-election for his second term. President Brahim Ghali extended his sincere wishes of health and success in accomplishing his noble presidential missions, hailing the unwavering Algerian position, symbolizing liberty and dignity towards the fair struggle of the Sahrawi people for liberty and independence. The Lebanese head of government, Najib Mikati, congratulated President Abdelmajid Tebboune via a phone call for winning the presidential elections and the trust of the Algerian people, wishing him success in his presidential mission. President Tebboune, for his part, thanked Najib Mikati, wishing stability and prosperity for the Lebanese people. Finally, the President of the Nicaragua Republic, Daniel Ortega, and his Vice President Rosario Murillo addressed on their behalf and on behalf of their people their sincere congratulations to President Tebboune Abdelmejid for his victory in the presidential elections of September the 7th and gaining once again the trust of the Algerian people, expressing the sincere friendship of the Nicaraguan people have with the Algerian people before wishing stability and prosperity.
In other news, the President of the Constitutional Court, Omar Belhaj, received today the Movement of Society for Peace candidate. Abdullah Hassani Sharif filed an appeal at the court's level regarding the preliminary results of the presidential elections.
We fully trust the judiciary institution headed by the Constitutional Court as a neutral, impartial and just judicial body. Therefore, its decisions are not subject to appeal. We hope that the mistakes will be corrected.
The President of the Constitutional Court equally received today the FFS candidate. Youssef Aushish lodged an appeal at the court's level regarding the provisional results of the presidentials.
We hope that the state's institutions will take all the necessary measures and that the Constitutional Court could examine this case by scrutinizing all the minutes, files and appeals lodged at its level.
In today's diplomatic activity and as tasked by the head of state, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad, Minister Ahmed Attaf, took part today in the 162nd session of the Arab League Council at the level of foreign ministers in Cairo, Egypt. The Council adopted a strategy based on joint Arab actions to face the Zionist plans and hailed Algeria's efforts as a non-permanent member at the UN Security Council meant to back the Palestinian cause and end the ongoing aggression on Gaza. And on the sidelines of the proceedings, Ahmed Attaf met with several of his counterparts. He met his Tunisian, Libyan, Mauritanian, Sudanese, Yemeni, Syrian and Saudi counterparts. He also held talks with the Secretary General of the Arab League. The head of the Algerian diplomacy also held discussions with his Palestinian counterpart, the Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs of the State of Qatar and the Vice Foreign Minister of Oman. Opportunities to install a consultation and coordination dialogue relating to several issues on the roadmap of the ministerial meeting, notably those pertaining to the dangerous escalations in Palestine. Ahmed Attaf had previously participated in the 8th meeting of the Restricted Arab Ministerial Committee tasked with countering the illegal policies of the Zionist entity in occupied Al-Quds. The committee discussed the Zionist systematic efforts to annex the city, displace the Palestinians, and alter its Arab identity. The ministers agreed on practical measures to strengthen Arab efforts internationally to confront and combat these actions by all possible means. The Arab League foreign ministers decided to embark on freezing the Zionist membership at the United Nations for its non-compliance with the UN Charter, jeopardizing thereby the international peace and security. A group of Arab ambassadors to New York have been tasked to submit the freeze application to the head of the UN General Assembly, a move often advocated by Algeria and its foreign minister Ahmed Attaf in several international fora. Onto the Mega Sea water desalination project in Fouka. The works are advancing well and the plant is to be delivered by December, providing 3 million inhabitants with water. Leticia Setqawi explains.
The Bousmail water desalination plant will officially be in service the upcoming December, and the works are progressing at a maximum speed with only 20% left for the project to be over.
Il avance avec un rendement très considérable.
The project is advancing with a considerable pace thanks to the human and material resources available here. We are at the heart of the station. This is the step where the desalinated water will be produced. We are now at a crucial phase, that of assembling the equipment on site. As you can see, we have both static and rotative equipment which will be installed here to enable the production of desalinated water.
This plant is the first in Africa with a production capacity of 300,000 cubic meters per day. It will supply no less than 3 million inhabitants of the west of Algiers, Blida and Tipaza.
We are advancing in this project given its importance for water security in the country. We are provided with state-of-the-art equipment, 30% of which is locally produced, in addition to Algerian competences. It is also important to note that this project is created thanks to Algerian companies.
This station is one of the 5 mega projects in the framework of ensuring water security, and it costed around 58 billion dinars.
A joint statement called for political and diplomatic consultations between the republics of Tanzania and Kenya, stressing the urgent need for the UN to implement international decisions and resolutions related to Western Sahara and Palestine. The statement issued at the forum held today in the Namibian capital, Windhoek, called on the foreign ministers of both countries to expedite the implementation of the UN decisions regarding Western Sahara and Palestine, emphasizing that this is the only way to achieve lasting peace and sustainable development in both regions. In Gaza, over 40 Palestinians were killed in a single airstrike yesterday on a humanitarian zone in the sector of Al-Mawasi, a zone of 46 kilometers qualified by the occupier as a safe area for Palestinians. Wissam Abu Zaid and Leticia Sadqawi.
These are the remains of the makeshift tents of displaced Palestinians in the humanitarian zone of Al-Mawasi in Khan Yunis. This zone, where thousands of Palestinians hide, was the target of the Zionist entity overnight, setting dozens of tents into flames. According to the spokesman of the Palestinian Health Ministry, the Zionist occupier used missiles banned internationally. Rescue teams relentlessly tried to save victims stuck under the rubble.
The strikes left severe damage. There are bodies everywhere. We had no means to extract the bodies.
Another massacre that claimed over 40 lives and left behind around 60 wounded, including women and children. This toll is expected to rise with families still stuck.
They struck us without warning, leaving behind innocent victims. My son, mother and sister were all killed. The rest of my children were burnt.
Sheltering thousands of displaced Palestinians escaping bombardments and classified as a safe zone, Al-Mawasi was supposed to be protected, but it is once again targeted without even a warning, as it happened before last July.
Within few minutes, 4 missiles fell upon us. The occupier told us to come to Al-Mawasi to be safe, but then struck us relentlessly.
ولكن هاي مواصي خان يونس على شوفة عينك دمار وخربان ديار.
Another cowardly move by the Zionist entity. No one is spared the cruelty, not even women and children. The humanitarian situation in Gaza is extremely critical, as most hospitals are no longer operational. According to the latest figures, 9 out of 10 Palestinians were displaced at least once during the war.
To sports now, the national football team defeated today the Liberian side with 3-0 in the second game of the 2025 African Cup of Nations qualifiers held in the capital, Monrovia. With this praiseworthy victory, Algeria tops Group E with 6 points. And the Algerian delegation that took part in the Paris Paralympic Games is back to Algiers. The participating athletes, who won 11 medals, including 6 gold medals, were received at the Houari Boumediene International Airport in a festive atmosphere by the sports and solidarity ministers, namely Abderrahman Ahmed and Kautar Kriko, in addition to their families. And with that, today's news edition comes to a close. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye for now.